This is the metagame status for Co-op Tournament number 1, round number 2. Both players have succeeded in surviving round number 1, and they have also gotten the bonus objectives, so both teams start off with 6 points. So, team number 1 will be playing up against 4 mutators. They will be up against microtransactions, mineral shields, slim pickings, and temporal field. A very economically punishing mutator set, but they've chosen to do it with Nova and Stukov on minor evacuation. Team number 2 will be up against 3 mutators, and they will be doing it with Fatal Attraction, Purifier Beam, and Self-Destruction. They will be doing this on Void Launch, and the commanders they will be playing are Alarak and Zagara. So let's get into the game. This is the Co-op Tournament number 1, round number 2, team number 2. And we have, playing Zagara, Hunter. And playing Alarak, we have Spohky. So let's have a look at the mutators that they will be dealing with. They are dealing with Fatal Attraction, Purifier Beam, and Self-Destruction. So, yeah, I despise mutators so much. So let's have a look at the masteries, see what the plan is over here. I'm not really sure what that was. I think that might have been a sacrificial probe or a drone to see what the enemy composition is. But we have Zagara going for the Zagara energy regeneration, baneling attack damage, and then a split into the roach top and then the intensified frenzy. Personally, I prefer to just go for the intensified frenzy, just max that out. I'm not really sure why the extra roach damage is there, but I think it might be just to provide a little bit of tankiness to the roach drop, given that you're going to be having Fatal Attraction being active. So I think that's probably why there was a split there. Alarak has gone for the Alarak attack damage, gone for the Deathly cooldown and the Overcharge mastery over here. So I think the Deathly cooldown again is just the intent is you're going to have Fatal Attraction, which means for 50% of the game you're not going to be able to micro your units, because that's basically what it is. So just having some beefy units available on the map to just soak up damage is going to be very important here for the commanders. I think that is the underlying strategy, which explains the Death Fleet cooldown as well as the Roach Drop, mastery. So we have Alarak on the side, and he's already putting down a pylon over here to be able to hopefully deal with the first attack wave. I think that's the plan. Yes, the first attack wave has spawned. Unfortunately, this attack wave... actually, this is classic infantry, so it's not that bad. But these Marines are somewhat out of reach. But the pylon just finishes in time and ends up wiping out that attack wave. And I think mainly cleaning up this bunker and a bunch of the Marines that are there. So Purifier Beam has focused down this pylon. This pylon will end up going down, but it's kept everything away from the mineral line, which is very important. Zagara is just going for the baneling damage. Zagara works reasonably well with Fatal Attraction, because Fatal Attraction works in Zagara's favor. Zagara's banelings and Scourge get pulled towards the enemy units and end up dying anyway, so Zagara is not as heavily impacted by Fatal Attraction, especially on a mission where your objectives and are units rather than structures. So you get a lot of good value out of your suicide units. So Alarak is now in position, gets Fatal Attraction again, just trying to clean up its weaken this side. Again, I think the players want to try and do the bonus objectives. The previous team has already done their bonus objectives, so at the moment the players, this team does not know that their opponents have done the both bonus objectives. So they are not aware of that until the end of the game. So they're going to try and their best to clear both the bonus objectives given the mutate set. There's a Purifier Beam that is moving up towards Zagara, but Zagara uses a Baling Barrage here. You can see how much value that Zagara gets out of that. And there we go, Fatal Attraction. Very annoying mutator, but so far so good. The commanders have handled it reasonably well. Zagara has actually gone for the Heroic Fortune to upgrade first, which is again a very good choice given the fact that you have Self-Destruction as well in the mix here. You can see Zagara taking a lot of damage from Self-Destruction. The Heroic Fortune just keeps her alive, and just gives this bug a little bit more HP. So yeah, there we go.
Allies are in combat.
Alarak again trying to just poke into the space a little bit. weaken this side. First bonus objective area has been cleared, and we'll have to try and clean up a little bit of this side as well. Hunter killers do come down. You can see how little damage output the hunter killers got before they ended up getting wiped by the Fatal Attraction, Self-Destruction. Main combo here is the Fatal Attraction and Self-Destruction combo. The Purifier Beam is just an extra thing that is there just to provide a little bit of annoyance to the commanders. First Shuttle Wave has spawned, and Zagara has gotten her Overseer out, because there might be some cloaked units that'll be in the base, especially once you get past 12 and the mark. Banshees will have cloak. Ghosts are really annoying as well. Just having that early detection out, very useful for Zagara, and because the commanders are right now just going solo, and yeah, Zagara and Alarak are both just climbing up that tech tree, just increasing the power of their commanders before the difficult waves start to spawn. So we have, I think 3 pylons are being put down here, and this will be used for the triple overcharge if it is necessary. Alarak here is just covering all the bases in the very rare chance that Zagara is not able to clear out this shuttle. The pylons will be there to overcharge and wipe this side, but Alarak is now here, and he's going to be able to one-shot this attack wave for the most part. And a few hybrids end up being alive here. Hunter killers do go down, and again, they're getting pulled by the Fatal Attraction. I think this should be reasonably okay. They should be able to. There's a little bit of star step here for these hunter killers. And there we go. The shuttle wave has been cleaned up, and there was an overcharge here, a little bit of a premature overcharge, but that's okay. Better safe than sorry. And now the first shuttle wave has been cleaned up, and that Purifier Beam is targeting one of these overlords here. So if you can, and if you have that kind of micro, and I know Hunter definitely has that kind of micro ability, what you can do is make sure that you can keep dodging these Purifier Beams with the Overlord. So what he's done over here is he's put the Overlord on a patrol path around this side. Is it a patrol path? No. So he's just basically clicked around in a circle like 500 times, and this Overlord now is just moving around in circles. And this will keep the Purifier Beam away from the army, as long as there's no rally past this Purifier Beam that may draw its aggro. So sometimes what can happen is, you know, like in this case, if you are warping and stuff over here, and stuff is moving across, wow, that Overlord moves really fast. Never seen it. Like I know the Overlord has the pneumatic carapace, is pneumatic carapace upgrade that makes it move faster, but it's always an Overseer. I've never seen an Overlord like just move that fast. Anyway, back to the game. Both the commanders are pushing into the side, and they've been able to clean up this bonus objective. There are a few more units that are left on here, a few Marines and I think a few Marauders. Now there's an attack wave, and another Purifier Beam has spawned, and now the Death Fleet is now in position as well. I think, what is the goal here for this Death Fleet? Move Zagara's army across, or is it going to be... I think it's going to go for have Alarak there. So yeah, Zagara has dropped the Roach Drop on this army and has cleaned up some of the units there. Failing Barrage ends up coming down. Your Fatal Attraction comes up, and Zagara is getting focus fired down. Alarak uses Death Fleet to teleport over, and he will be able to save Zagara before she explodes into tiny little bits. And now the shuttle wave has spawned, but Zagara is in position with a bunch of Scourge, ends up cleaning up that. It was actually pretty much the perfect number of Scourge to deal with an attack wave, or those shuttles. Now that second Purifier Beam has spawned. Next attack wave has spawned on this side, and now will be making its way towards these commanders over here. But that has been cleaned up. I think the first bonus objective was also done. I'm not really sure. I can't really see the status there. I think the first bonus objective has been saved. But so far, so good. That Purifier Beam is in a very inconvenient position. It's kind of blocking. It'll start blocking this ramp. So the commanders will have to try and maneuver around it, either going up this ramp over here, or using some kind of teleport ability. But just making sure that they do not get eaten by this Purifier Beam. So we have this Overlord now that is just trying to pull this Purifier Beam away. Just move it out of the position, out of one of the more important positions here. You want to keep this top area clear because the enemies spawn from this side and from this side. So you want to have access to this area here so you can go ahead and engage these attack waves as you wish. So this Overlord is going to be moving here in position. This Overlord is still keeping this Purifier Beam busy. This Purifier Beam is aggroed to this Overlord here, so that'll be reasonably okay as well. So the next shuttle wave has spawned, and will be making its way towards the right-hand warp conduit. And the Overlord does get sizzled a little bit from here. And this Overlord as well is taking a little bit of damage, and this probe here might aggro that Purifier beam, which might be problematic. But there we go.
You're under attack.
It's very, very tricky to make sure that both these Overlords are moving out of the way of these Purifier beams. Keeping them in this position is actually very useful, because this is unpathable terrain, so you might as well have a Purifier beam that's just stuck on that side, which should make it a little bit easier. See for what I mean over here? Like, this Purifier beam is on an unpathable terrain, so it's actually not dealing any damage. It's impossible for it to deal damage. And now Zagara is going to try and maneuver in position. She has a lot of Scourge, so she'll be able to clean up these evacuation ships without, or the shuttles without any problems here. I'm going to send an army through. You see how the Scourge just get pulled towards these shuttles, and yeah, that is that shuttle wave cleaned up now. We have another attack wave that's come up on this side. Roach Drop comes down, wipes out the ground forces. We still have a few of the air forces on this side. Fortunately, these Scourge don't really deal a lot of damage to the ground units, so they end up getting picked off by self-destruction. And yeah, lots of Banelings. Banelings very, very good, because these suicide units are just going to be so useful in just... With Fatal Attraction, they work so well. Zagara is one of the commanders that is least impacted by Fatal Attraction, and you know, might say even it kind of benefits her a little bit if you are playing the right kind of composition. But yeah, there we go. A few more Overseers join into the mix just to provide Zagara. Zagara does not want to get caught out without detection, because that could be very, very bad for her. And yeah, still both Overlords are keeping these Purifier beams busy. Unfortunately, this one has moved out of position, but this Overlord will be able to handle that. Any problems. Again, a few more pylons. We have a few more Ascendants coming out, and there's a manual sacrifice onto this Ascendants just to increase the amount of damage here. We have a few Havocs here for Alarak. The one thing you can do with Fatal Attraction is use the Havoc's Force Field ability to keep your army away. What's that? Havocs have Force Field ability? Yes, they do have Force Field ability. It's one ability that's very rarely used. All you do is cast a bunch of force fields, then use your Ascendant Psionic Orbs, like pass them in front, and your army basically gets trapped behind the force field and can't be pulled into the enemy's army. And we might be able to see that here. Oh, nope, never mind. No force field on here. But yeah, you can basically drop a bunch of force fields onto your onto the front line, especially if you're expecting an attack wave, and it'll keep your stuff away from getting pulled into the enemy's army. We'll see if we can catch that play for Alarak here. I don't know if he's going to do it. Okay, so he's just chosen to just move out of the way. Unfortunately, Fatal Attraction does have a very high range, so your army is going to get caught here. I think there were a few. Yeah, one Ascendant has been lost so far. I think, yeah, 2 more Ascendants have been lost there as a result of that. Zagara has been able to handle this shuttle wave here. And now we have an overcharge onto this side. There's a Purifier beam that has also joined into the mix. Again, you do not really want to lose the shuttles in the early stages of the game, because these shuttles are easy pickings. The last set of shuttles, which have 3 waves that go into different conduits, are significantly more difficult. It's more likely that you're going to end up missing a few of those shuttles. So you want to try and lose out as few of the early shuttles as possible. So now this one is going to be the more scary one. This is the triple wave of shuttles. Even though they go towards one warp conduit, there is a very massive attack wave that spawns on this side, and that is the one that's going to be very difficult to deal with. So I'd like to see Alarak use some of his Havocs to block the Ascendants from being pulled towards the attack wave. But Zagara is also in position, so she should be able to handle it. Zagara is almost maxed out. Not yet though, flowing a lot of resources. I think Zagara just wants to see if she's going to need more Scourge or more Banelings into the mix. I think I would just personally go for more Scourge. Better try and focus on the main objective rather than
Your forces are under attack.
than the ground forces here. But yeah, Alarak is yeah, there we go. So you can see here now that Alarak has put down his force field, and see how these force fields are just keeping his Ascendants away. His Ascendants are getting trapped onto this side, and you can see here, unfortunately, the force fields do end up getting expired, and they just end up wiping out some of these Ascendants. But yeah, that's basically the idea. What you need to do: drop a bunch of force fields on the front line. Not only does this block the attack wave, but it can keep your Ascendants alive as well, which is very, very important. It does mean you do end up missing out on a little bit of the damage from the psionic orbs, but it's more important to try and keep these ascendants alive because they have a lot of. It takes a long time to get them to a point where they're actually really strong. So there's one hybrid over here. I think it'll just get focused far down by a bunch of mind blasts. Mind blasts coming down here, and yeah, more or less okay here. But yeah, that is one of the other things to also note is you do end up losing a little bit of damage output because the force fields block the enemy units from coming to your army, which means you do end up losing a little bit of your psionic orb damage. But all in all, it's 100% worth doing. There's another Purifier beam now. Unfortunately, this Overlord does get aggroed by a bunch of Vikings, which shoot it down. Rip that Overlord. And yeah, more or less okay. Alarak is starting to get a few more Ascendants out. But yeah, Alarak has been having a little bit of a difficulty. He has lost 6 Ascendants so far just because of that Fatal Attraction Self-Destruction combo. But overall, this mission is going okay. This is the last bonus objective. The 2 previous bonus objectives have been saved. So if Alarak if these commanders can save this last bonus objective, they will get an extra bonus point to the next round, and it's going to be very beneficial for them. So let us see what the plan is. The ship has landed, which means a harass wave will start to spawn on this side. There'll be an attack wave on this side as well. So we're going to see what Alarak's plan is here. Alarak is it decided to jump into this attack wave here because of the Fatal Attraction. And again, there are no force fields here, so a lot of these units do end up getting picked off by a lot of self-destructions here. Alarak is losing a lot of the army. 11 ascendants have gone down. 13, 14 ascendants, 15 ascendants have gone down. I think pretty much all the ascendants have been cleared from Alarak's army, and this ship has been saved right now to Zagara's army, but Alarak has taken a very, very large hit. He's lost all his ascendants, and he's not going to be able to get his ascendants up to a point now where he's going to be strong enough to survive the onslaught of the next attack wave. He's going to have to rely on his pylon and his overcharges, and he's going to have to hope that Zagara can handle the next part over here. So there's a radiant that comes down onto the Science Vessel, but the Science Vessel does end up going down to the Scourge, and now this is the last set of shuttles that will be spawning. And yeah, Zagara will have to try and max out on a number of Scourge. So you can see here Zagara has put down a large number of hatcheries here. And this is what I was talking about, is when you are playing Zagara in the later stages of the game, make sure you put down enough macro hatcheries so that you can remax your army. You're floating, 6,000 minerals, so, spend, 1,000, spend 2,000 minerals and have, enough macro hatcheries over here. So what Zagara can do over here now is as soon as she loses her army and uses her army to suicide into the bunch of shuttles, she's going to be able to remax like 2 times over. And it will be able to... it strongly strengthens her late game ability, and this is something you should be doing when you are playing Zagara. So that was a very, very good choice here. There are a few ascendants here. These ascendants are not going to be doing a lot of damage. You can see over here the psionic orbs do get dropped, wiping out a lot of the marines. It ends up pulling a lot of the ascendants out, and those ascendants do end up getting wiped here. But Zagara is going to just trying to focus fire down these shuttles. She's not even interested in dealing with these hybrids. There are 3 more sets of shuttles that have to come up. But Zagara is going to be remaxing her army in just a little bit now. There'll be a lot of Scourge that'll be coming out. And yeah, Alarak is going to be struggling a little bit. Does that thing actually have a barrier? On the Science Vessel? I've never seen that before. Anyway, we have 2 overcharges that have come down now just to try and hold a little bit. Zagara is making a beeline now for these shuttle waves and ends up cleaning up that side as well. There are a few more here, but again, a little bit of focus fire down to the Scourge. I think all these shuttles have been cleared up through the overcharge and the Scourge from Zagara, and all the evacuation ships have all the science vessels have been saved as well. So that's an extra bonus point for this team, and that is GG.